evening, everyone. You all are quiet. It's great weather outside. Good evening, everyone. We want to thank Councilwoman Janee Ayers and the A-team for coming on the East Side, District 4, for their meeting. She does a wonderful job on our council. I tease Janee every now and then because when we had a vacancy on the council, was it 2015? We deliberated about 2 or 3 weeks, and she was one of the top 2 people. And so I was the deciding vote to get her over to the other side. She's over the top. So until the day she lives, I will remind her of that. But she said I wore that out already, so it doesn't count. But I'm glad she's here. I understand what she has to do. I was an at-large member my first term going across the city from Telegraph all the way to Morass. It's a large city. So they do a very good job, she and her A-team, handling all their responsibilities. So I want to thank her for coming out here. She does a great job leading our city. Janee, she's run 4 elections. So she's been in office to fill her seat, and she's done a great job. Can the A-team raise their hand? Everyone in the A-team raise their hand. They do a marvelous job. Can you give them a big hand? They do a marvelous job with the city council, and it does not yet appear what she shall be and what she shall do. We welcome you to District 4, the best district in the city of Detroit. I present Councilwoman Janee Ayers.
This is actually our first ever town hall, and we've gone door to door and sent out quarterly newsletters, biweekly email blasts, but this is our first time doing something like this. And I think it's important that we continue to bridge the gap between what the city is working on and then what the community wants to see. Tonight we will have a lot of informative presentations, so thank you so much to our partners for helping us make this happen. Councilmember Spivey from D4, DGC, DDOT, the Mayor's Office, DWSD, that's a lot of letters, y'all. DSC, Public Lighting, Planning, and the Land Bank, thank you all for being here. First of all, our guest will come up and do a brief presentation, and then we will open the floor up to questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, and one of my staff will come around and collect your comment card. Again, this town hall is for you, and we would love to hear your feedback, what you learned, if you have questions, if your questions were answered, and what you would like to see in the future. Also, something that was not in the video, that it may actually be something that is a concern of some of you, knowing that the canal is right over here. We are also working on a small watercraft regulation, and so kind of the long and short of it is that now that Detroit has become a hotspot for college students and young adults, we're seeing more small boating activity, like kayaking on the rivers and throughout our canal system. So over the next year, I would like to introduce some legislation to regulate this type of activity in order to keep our boaters safe and ensure that they do not become a nuisance to the residents who do live along the canal. In Michigan, cities must get permission from the Department of Natural Resources before we regulate the gateways, waterways. So I am working to get this permission from the DNR, and I look forward to updating you in the future. But quite honestly, I'm going to tell you, we're going to get off script for a second. Where this came from is I had a couple constituents call, and they're like, look, can we just come meet with you? I said, sure. So they came down, and bottom line is, they live right out the canal, and one in particular moved there because she was being stalked by someone. So now you got some random kayak coming through her backyard, and she's like, well, the whole point of this is because I was getting stalked. So I don't know who this is. You got people just posted up in your backyard. That's not fair. People didn't buy their house for that. And so while we don't want to say you can't utilize the waterway, because we do, we want you to, we just want to make sure that everybody participating is safe in that. So, all right, well, we'll start here. You all can do your introductions, and I'll be back.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arthur Edge. I work for Building Safety Engineering, first day at the job. No, I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm over the Dangerous Buildings Demolition Division in Building Safety, and my job is to take care of all this blight here in this city. I agree with Councilwoman Ayers that it's too much blight here in the city. And just recently, the demolition, part of the demolition operations has been returned back to BC, so we're going to be working hard to get this cleaned up as fast as possible for you here in this city. And also, Building Safety is responsible for everything that goes on in the city as far as your permits, rental registration. We have a new rental ordinance that we're moving forward with to make sure that these landlords are in compliance. We're responsible for all the construction that you see here in this city, as far as permits, everything from changing light switch to rewiring the whole house to building the new Hudson's building that is coming up downtown. So if you have any questions, I'll be here to answer anything that you need. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Alexa Bush, and I work in the Planning and Development Department, and I'm responsible for running a team of planners that works on the east side. So in addition to District 4, we'd work in District 3 and just a little bit of District 5. I'm really excited. We've got a whole lot coming from planning. I think I might even see a few familiar faces who participated in a planning study we just completed in the Jefferson Chalmers and Riverbend area. We announced that just a couple months ago and are excited to see some of the first projects coming out of that plan soon. We are about to launch 2 more plans this year, one of which will be called East Warren Cadieux. It's going to focus on the Cornerstone, East English Village, and Morningside neighborhoods. So a lot more like meetings and conversations to come in District 4. The other plan that we're launching is a bit further north, called Gratiot 7 Mile. We're really just kind of picking some major intersections. Most of these plans touch multiple neighborhoods. But that plan will be looking at Maple Ridge, Regent Park, Mohican Region, and a bunch of neighborhoods. So that plan will actually be our first that straddles both District 4 and District 3. So those will be our next 2 big studies coming, but please expect to see us. We're excited to work with you, to talk with you about what the future of your neighborhoods can look like. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Angelica Jones. I'm the director for DDOT, the transit. Of course, we are doing some exciting things in transit. Last September, we launched our Connect 10 routes, which are 10 routes, the core routes that hit multiple neighborhoods. What's so important now, May 1st, next week, we launch our fare change. This fare change is something that is going to be easier and more efficient for our customers to ride transit. We're calling it the DART. DART is the new way to pay, and we're partnering with SMART. So instead of, if anyone rides transit here, we put, currently it's $1.50. What we're looking to do is increase the fare to $2, which is SMART is also $2. You will be able to purchase, we're calling it a ride ticket, for 4 hours riding transit anywhere in the city of Detroit in any direction. Previously, there was a transfer where you had to pay 25 cents, you transfer, it was perpendicular, you couldn't ride back and forth. So we'll make it seamless, easy as possible, and SMART would allow the same. So we're starting with a 4-hour pass, a 24-hour pass as well, that you could ride throughout the whole day, our 31-day pass, and also a 7-day pass. It's like a weekly. With those passes, currently, you have to use them, say, the 1st to the end of the month. Now you purchase a pass today, you use it today, it will roll for 30 days. So we're trying to make it more convenient, effective, and efficient for our customers to ride transit. In addition to, we're looking to have some workshops, I believe open houses we're calling them. One is today, and there are 2 more tomorrow, the 24th Wednesday, then Tuesday on the 30th. I know Mickey brought some flyers. She's sitting in the back if you guys are interested. And also we will have public hearings coming up for our June service changes, which is minor changes on 4 of our routes, the 10 Greenfield, 11 Claremont, 16 Dexter, and 99 Fresh Wagon. None is necessarily touching this district besides Claremont because it starts on the west side and it ends on the east. And there's information, we'll have our public hearings May 7th and 10:30 in the morning, then one at 6 p.m. Okay, so that's it for DDOT. Transit cop, you want to say?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My job simply is to make sure that your ride on the transit is safe. I'm Chief Brown of the Transit Police, and with heavy, heavy support from Councilmember Ayers, she's determined to make sure that when you ride the buses or you have the occasion to be at Rosa Parks Transit Center, it'll be safe, efficient, clean, and we're there to make sure it happens. So thank you, and everyone, ride the bus.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Janee Ayers for inviting me here tonight. It is my pleasure to be here. We are absolutely engaged in the city, and we love hearing from each and every one of you in these departments. We do work cohesively together. My name is Jamal Harrison. I am the Director of Community Engagement for the Public Lighting Authority. I've been there since its inception. I am the longest standing employee there. Everyone else has moved on for some odd reason. But my job at the PLA is to not only keep these lights going and burning, but it is to resolve issues within these neighborhoods that you may have. So if the light goes out, we want you guys to be aware of how to report a light outage. I have some information here and on the back table there to how you report a light out to us. There are flyers here. You can call us directly. You can use C-Click Fix or your Improved Detroit app. You can also go online. We have a plainfo.org. And then we can, when you call us about a light outage, if it is just a light outage and does not require like someone like DTE to help with the outage, we get that light back burning within 3 to 5 business days because we understand how important lighting is throughout the city. We also have, we have been working with Alexa's group and the Streetscape projects and with Transit Police now. What we want to do is we want to hear from you guys because, for instance, we did not know that I think it's State Fair Transit Center was out like it was, right? So we went and interviewed them and found out what was going on, and it was so dark for so long and there was so much crime out there that we lit it up and it now looks like a spaceship. Because we don't want people sitting out in the dark trying to catch a bus, coming from work, going home or whatever. And so we are now working with the Rosa Parks Transit Center as well. We're going to get those lights up as well. And so our job here is to not just improve, modernize, and maintain the public lights. We are also here to help improve on public safety. And so we know that the lighting plan is cookie cutter, and so sometimes we don't always get it right. The plan doesn't count for curvature streets. It doesn't count for shorter streets and longer blocks. So I need to hear from you. When you have an outage, please let us know. We verify that light outage the day you call me. The next day it goes into maintenance and we get that light repaired. Now when it is a pole knocked down, please let us know, a leaning pole. And then sometimes you also see some abandoned poles across the city. Well, there's been a couple of pole projects that went south by way of old contractors that did not work out with whomever. And so you see an abandoned pole and it's on your berm or your property, even in the alley, let us know. That is our responsibility. That's blight that we want to take care of. And we come out, if it's DTE's pole, we have a contact at DTE that gets that pole and get it up. If it's our pole, we get it up right away. So we care about the city and we care about you guys. We want you to have as much light as possible. Thank you. My colleague here just reminded me. So one thing that the lighting plan did not account for, it was a budgetary issue. It was cost prohibitive. We did not have the funding to do lights within the alleys. The additional monies that we raised for the lighting authority, we determined that that light would be better used on the roadway, right? So we added additional lights to the road that the plan initially did not account for. And so we were tasked with, okay, we raised an additional $15 million, so do we put this light in the alley or do we put it on the road, on the street where it's most useful? We decided to put it on the streets. And so we did not have a plan for alley lights. And so the only option that we had was through DTE. It's called an outdoor protective light. But the problem with that was that it cost too much. It was $22.50 per resident, per light, right? And it could only go on one resident's bill. And in the city where there's such a low median income and so much senior population and fixed incomes, that's just too much to ask a resident to take on. So what we did, we partnered with DTE a second time. We went to them, said this is just too much. We went to the state of Michigan. We got them to lower the tariff on the light, bring the cost down. They dropped it by 60%. The light is now $11.22 a month. And here's the big component. It can be shared now. If you have a block club, you have a community association or neighborhood association, it no longer has to be on someone's bill. It'll come to that association under that association's name. So if you're paying dues or fees, that can pay for that light. So we just closed a deal with Chicago Boulevard East. They're buying 15 lights for their alleys, right? It's going to cost them less than $1.78 a month per resident. That's less than a cup of coffee to light their alleys. And that light, it'll be maintained by DTE. Any tree trimming, any maintenance, any failure, it'll be maintained by DTE, and they have the same commitment to outages as we do. They will get that light back up and burning within 3 to 5 business days. And so the turnaround time from the time you request the light, you can go on the PLA's website to do this, or you can go to DTE Direct, the information on the back table. From the time you request it to the time it's installed is 21 days or less. Thank you.
I love how excited you get about OPLs. I'm glad I reminded you. Good evening. I'm Liaison. I'm the District 4 Manager with the Department of Neighborhoods. And I have with me Dennis Perkins, our Deputy District Manager. I've lost you, Dennis. Where are you? Oh, maybe I don't have Dennis with me. We have a new Deputy District Manager, Dennis Perkins, in District as well. So the Department of Neighborhoods, our role, our primary role, is to help fight blight in the neighborhoods by way of board ups, block cleanups, helping to organize block clubs, helping to grow block clubs. And also to work hand in hand with each of our sister departments here today. So some neighborhoods are in a period of stabilization, right? And others revitalization, which is where my friends from planning come in as well. So I see a lot of familiar faces here today, a lot of our Block Club and Neighborhood Association leadership. It's good to see you. You haven't seen me in a little bit because we've been a little busy with this crazy little project here on the east side with the Chrysler expansion. So I will be back soon, and I will be at the meetings. If you have any questions about how to organize a block club, if any of you here this evening are interested in organizing one, or you don't know if you have one existing, we can help get you in touch. And then also, we have Motor City Makeover coming up. So Motor City Makeover in District 4 is May 11th, Saturday, May 11th. But really, we do Motor City Makeover 365. The only difference between May 11th and any other day of the year is we're sometimes able to get more equipment and labor donated on that day, heavy equipment. Pickup for Motor City Makeover supplies, because I see I have a couple of text messages and voicemails from some of you in the room, is this Thursday at the Samaritan Center, located at 5555 Connor. This Thursday at the Samaritan Center from 4 to 6 p.m. You can pick up your supplies for your Motor City Makeover project. If you haven't registered for a project, that's okay. Go ahead and show up on Thursday, and we'll get you signed up. Okay? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kai Bowman. I am with the Office of the Mayor. I'm the Executive Director of Development, and I report directly to Arthur Jemison. My main responsibility with the city is to work on major development projects across the city in non-SNF neighborhoods. So if you have any questions, Letty mentioned the small deal we're working on the east side with FCA. We've got a ton of opportunity and experience with that. So.
Good afternoon. My name is Bivings. I'm the District 4 Business Liaison. I'm with the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, the DEGC. And my job is to just advocate and help small businesses. I work directly with Lady Azar and Dennis Perkins. So whatever your business issue is, if it's needing to navigate City Hall, eliminate issues with the police or water department, or maybe you haven't had an opportunity to reach Jay, I kind of expedite that, or maybe you need connecting to financial resources, I connect you to those issues. I'm going to be leaving momentarily, so if you have any questions, I'm going to put my cards at the desk, and you can pick those up and you can direct them strictly to me. I'm going to ask Ms. Margaret Hattie to step out in the hallway, and I'm going to answer your questions since I have it now. So I thank everyone for your time, and thank you, Councilwoman Ayers, for inviting us.
You record me? Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm looking at both sides because you guys are on both sides. My name is Raven Scott. I am with Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation, and I represent Detroit at Work. That is the mayor's initiative to get Detroiters back to work, not just through finding jobs, but also through training. We have a lot of great things that are coming up. I am hoping that you guys have some good questions for me if you do have questions. But if not, I will be leaving some information as well. So if you ever need to get in contact with me, you definitely can.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany Jones. I'm the Public Affairs Director for the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department. I will be very brief. We brought along some material for you, so some of those questions can be answered if you visit our table, and we also brought some goodies. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them. If you would rather put them on a comment card and we can contact you back, we'll be more than happy to do that. If it's more of a billing or customer service concern that I can't handle here on site, I will definitely take that back and connect with you at a later date. Thank you for having us.
There are a couple of things, though, that I want to make sure did not get lost. And wait, first things first, this is a very open, candid space, okay? I just want y'all to know that. So I'll probably be the most candid person. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, tell you the truth. And that's just how I roll. If you like it, okay. If you don't, that's okay, too. I did have someone ask me in the back about senior home repair. So I want to address that right now. And I try to do it as politically correct as I can, or as my mouth will let me. Senior home repair grant I think it's an awesome program. We were able to put another $1.5 million towards it, but I want you all to understand what it really, really means. It is not an endless pot of money. So when someone is saying, oh, we got $3 million in it this year, we got this, that's great, except for the list has yet to go down. So you can get on the list, but that list still has over 800 people on there. So what I found out, because I was like, okay, I want us to put money towards it, but I want to make sure that it's actually going to be impactful. And what I found was that $500,000, the way that it was in there, helped 50 people. So $1 million will help 100 people. Because you got to think, and this is just my rationale, don't make it right, but by the time a person comes to the city to ask the city to help them fix their home, it is probably far gone. So when you peel back the layers, there's a lot that's there that needs to be taken care of. So yes, we do have senior home repair grant dollars. Yes, they are there, but yes, there is a list. So I just want to make sure that I'm addressing that. As far as the start date for it, I can get that for you because I do not have it off the top of my head. But I just want to be very, very clear. It is a great program, but I don't want you to think that when you call, you're going to automatically get service, because that's not how it works. And I don't think a lot of people take time to really find that out. So that's that. Show of hands real quick. When we had the video plan, did you all get a chance to really hear what it is that our office has been working on? Right. I figured. It's okay. It's all right. So I'm going to just quickly highlight a couple of things that I think are important, just because what we do is legislative. We create laws, we create rules, and these are the things that dictate your life and how things will go in your life. So I think it's only fair that you know from the horse what this office is doing. One of the things I'm most proud of is the Fair Chance Ordinance, and that's the one that we just recently passed, and it was unanimously passed by myself and my colleagues. So we started the Returning Citizens Task Force when I first got to council. And that is not a person coming home from Iraq. That is a person that is coming home from being incarcerated. Why is that important? Because we live in a city that every month, 200 people that have been incarcerated come back to the city. So let that sink in. Every month, 200 people come back. So that means that in April, we got 200 people coming. They don't just go away when May comes and 200 more people come. So what are we really doing to address the issue? And that's why I said, okay, well, let me figure this out. And then for me, it's personal. My dad's a multi-felon, flat out. That's what he did. That's where he was at majority of my life. And so I knew there were things that could have been done to prevent him from going back. Because I can't imagine at this age, being 37, and I can't buy myself a pair of socks. What are you going to do? You don't know until you get in that situation. But if you think hard enough, I'm pretty sure y'all can figure it out. So I said, okay, well, how can we pull some folks together? One, to go through this list of, a million people out there saying they're doing something for returning citizens, anybody doing nothing. Just talking about it. So how do we weed through that list and figure out who's not doing anything, and then bring the people that are doing something together? Because we have to address it. People like to, that's the cousin, the one that's in the basement. We'll talk about him. Nobody talk about Carl, because Carl was on vacation. No, Carl was not on vacation. Carl was in jail. And now Carl is back home, and Carl lives next door to my mother. So we need to figure out how we get Carl a job, because I don't need his job to be looking at my mom go to her job. So that's, I told y'all. So So that's how the task force came to be. So from that, one of the things we found out was that one of the things that is the major hurdle for people is finding housing. And so when you look at it, a lot of people think about just men. Well, it's women that are incarcerated too. And so they say, well, they can go to COTS. You can't go to COTS if you don't have kids. And if I just got out, I don't have my kids, right? So what does that do for a woman? Well, 9 times out of 10, she ends up with some guy who's probably going to have her trafficking some drugs or whatever else, and she finds herself right back on the hamster wheel. And the same thing can be said for a man. They can be back, living in the house with some woman just to get by. So, so what this ordinance will do is that a housing provider will have to decide that a person is ineligible. We'll have to find out that they are qualified to even rent before you do a background check, because most people get stopped at the door. Do you have a criminal record? Nope, can't come here. Find out if I can afford it. Give me an opportunity before you tell me no. Then, once you see that I am qualified, I can pay the rent, all right, now you do your background check. And if, in fact, you don't want to rent to me, cool. But if it has nothing to do with my prior crime, if it has none of those things are connected, then you got to give a person a fair chance. So what we did, we took a long time with the ordinance because, well, part of this is a mess. But the other part of it was simply that we wanted to make sure that the landlord understood that they still had rights, and then that the possible tenant has rights too. So there's an appellate process and the whole nine. So it's layers there that protect both parties and the people that are in the neighborhood or inside of that housing complex. So just wanted you guys to know that. Short-term rentals. Who knows what a short-term rental is? That's okay. Somebody yell it out. What's a short-term rental? Airbnb. There you go. Now, I don't dislike Airbnb, so I don't want that to become the narrative because that is not true. Have I ever used one? No, but that's just my preference. But many of us have been here and we've watched a lot of speculators come and buy property, and we talk about how there's a lack of affordable housing. Well, if you've got people just buying up houses so they can turn it into a dewdrop inn, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? And so what we've noticed is that in particular neighborhoods right now, I've had a large complaint from people that are in Boston Edison because you got large houses, then turn them into frat houses every single weekend. And if you bought a house, I don't care where you live at, you live Mac and Bewig, Boston Edison, wherever, if you bought your home, that's because it was your home and you didn't anticipate living next door to a hotel. And so how do we make this fair? Yes, that is your property. We will allow for you to be able to rent it out and make some money, but there has to be some type of regulations around it. So that is one of the things that we're working on, how to strike that even balance so that people, you can't tell me what to do with my house. You're absolutely right. I want to tell you what to do with your house completely, but I am going to tell you how this neighborhood, because it's a neighborhood, before it was a possible hotel. So we're working on that. Formula businesses. Anybody have any clue about what a formula business is? Okay. So picture this. You're riding down Woodward, and you see Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, Dollar Mart, somebody else's dollar, Dollar General, and then you got Save-A-Lot. What's missing from there? You don't have a Kroger. There is no Meijer. There's no place that is in our neighborhoods, and I'm not talking about the nice, fancy, smancy Trader Joe's or Whole Check, because I don't know about you, but I don't go spend all my money at Whole Check. I can't afford it. I can't. I know you said those grapes are organic, and that's great. I don't know if that tastes better. I'm not sure. When I'm trying them in the store, they all taste like dirt or grapes. So what we've seen is that we have these discount stores that are proliferating in our neighborhoods. And so if, in fact, you're putting Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Family Dollar, all in 2 or 3 block radiuses, if I'm a Kroger, I'm not going to come in there. Because why would I? You're not going to come to me when you can go over here to Dollar General and get everything else that I might be selling that's not going to expire tomorrow. So why would I be there? And so what does that say about the structure of our neighborhoods? And what does it say that people think about certain folks to make a certain income or the color of your skin or where you can live? That's not right. And so we are working on that now because I got tired. I'm just being honest with you. I got absolutely tired. I called Rick today, my chief of staff, and I was driving down the street, and I'm talking to him, and I was like, oh my God. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, there used to be a Walgreens, and now it's a Family Dollar. So where do people in this general neighborhood, I can't get a prescription at Family Dollar. So that just bothers me. So we're working on formula businesses, 24-hour businesses. We are working on this one as well. And this would be to require 24-hour businesses to enhance their security during overnight hours to increase public safety. And so when we start talking about some of these gas stations, right, they're not near major thoroughfares, not that you're right by, it's not a lot of hustle and bustle. So why are you open 24 hours and then you don't have any security? And then you got nerve to have your fake green light up there. Because it's fake green lights. So I'm telling y'all now, when you go someplace, just because it's got a green light, if it doesn't have a placard that says this is a green light location, it's not a green light. That's just a green strobe light. I don't know where they got it from, so I like to give my green to places that have green lights, real ones. But we noticed that there's a lot of traffic and trouble that happens in those places that are just 24 hours without any enhanced security. So working through that. And I told you guys about the small watercraft regulations with the kayaks. So I just wanted to make sure that you didn't leave out of here without having the crux of the work that we've been doing. We also just finished with the budget. I'm the chair of the budget, and we survived. I'm here. I'm here. But the budget process was extended this year, and we actually had every single department that gets $1 from the city come and meet with us. And although it was long, I'm glad that we did it like that because, now y'all know, Detroit Zoo, it's in Royal Oak, but they get money from the city. So although it's not $1 million, it's $575,000. But at the end of the day, what are you doing for Detroit residents? And so to hear the director speak, and he was like, yeah, we just partnered with DPSCD. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you've been in Detroit Zoo my whole life. And it's been Detroit Public Schools, and they just add the community part. So how did we not think that we need to join the two? And we're going to make sure that all first graders in DPSCD, they're going to go to the zoo. Well, what about, and that's great. But what about the fifth grader that ain't never been to the zoo either? Because his mother probably doesn't have insurance on the car that she's driving. So am I going to chance driving to Royal Oak? No, you better go outside and look at them pit bulls across the street. That's the wildlife. And so that's unfortunate, especially when we think about all of the events that they have at the zoo. And $200 tickets to get in. Why not charter a bus and put one on the east side, put one on the west side, and when it's filled to capacity, it's filled. And then people just come on out. We got to make baby steps. And so I thought it was good that all of them had to come and talk to us. And so although my brain was absolutely fried after 46 of those sessions, we made it. So
I live on Bedford Street off of Windsor and Bremen. And all around me last summer, they were fixing the sidewalks, trip hazards. For some reason, they skipped our block. And it is full of trip hazards.
Gotcha.
And I was just wondering whether they're going to start this back up this summer, or are we just left out?
Okay, so no, you're not left out. So what we use to fix sidewalks is PA 51 money. And Ron Brundage from DPW, they have their entire sidewalk plan mapped out. I know it's a strange plan, though, because I have seen it where you see one block gets done and then you don't see another one for
Correct.
like 3 more streets. And you're like, well, you passed us to get to them.
Right.
So, yes, you will not be left out, but I'll make sure that we can refer this to DPW. Is a DPW person in the house tonight? Okay. Letty, you good? Okay. So we'll refer that to DPW, and actually I'll line item it for Public Health and Safety Committee as well. So we can get it in the track and then get your answers.
Thank you.
Sure.
No, it wasn't about break-in, it was a particular break-in, Nottingham Pharmacy.
Okay.
It's really vital to our area. It's not a liquor store.
Right.
Okay, and they keep trying to stay in business. The previous owner, she just retired a couple of years ago, and they've had 3 break-ins. They just had one Good Friday. And the police do what they can, but they can't sit behind the building.
Right.
Since we've got a person that's supposed to be working with the businesses, they need to address the businesses west of Bedford. Because every time we have some kind of pilot program, it centers from either Bedford, Coralville, on back across Outer Drive to Cashew. We've got a locksmith that's been in business for like 75 years. Okay, so it's businesses that stay there, that's vital, that don't let dope be sold out of there. And, you know.
Ms. Brown, do you know if they are a green light location?
No, they had talked about it, you know, but they just got in, and being in a minority neighborhood, even Express Scripts, where I get my scripts, I pay more just to help them stay in business, the ones I can afford. They didn't even want to renew them, even though they have one in St. Clair Shores. Wow. They gave her the devil about that.
So, you know. Officer King. Yep, that was me. How you doing? Are you familiar with this? Oh, I know you knew, Captain. I didn't want to put you on blast, and you don't know.
We just, the break-in she referred
Where's
to over the
microphone?
last few days, there was a vehicle that was used to attempt to smash the exterior wall, and it was recovered. So they're testing the vehicle that was recovered for DNA and fingerprints, and we're waiting for the results. We're not certain if it's part of a bigger pattern for other B&E break-ins. However, my time at the 10th Precinct in the Detective Bureau, we closed a very large B&E pharmacy ring using that same MO. So I already have people on that from my previous command and my current command trying to whittle down who it could be.
So, all right, so we have that going on, and thank you, Captain, for your answer. And also, Ms. Brown, I'll make sure to refer this to Martell Bivens that was here.
I got his card because, like I said, all the programs, they go in the other direction.
Got you.
And these are actually the people that donate to the community, that help the community.
Right.
You know, the other ones don't, so. Okay. I'm not saying down that way, but I'm saying the liquor store.
All right.
The wine basket always.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you?
I'm here about the concern of parking on Warren. Right there in front of our church and all the other businesses, they have this bike zone to the curb. And they have us getting out in the street.
Oh, I know.
So what can you do about that? Because it's hard getting out in the street. The people don't stop for you just because you got a cane or a walker. You know, you're opening your door. So I want to know what can be done by that. Why did they take the curbside from the people and put us in the street and put the bikes to the curbside?
So, Ms. Thomas,
I want to know.
I'm gonna go to Alexa first.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you why I'm laughing second. So, you pass the microphone down. Thank you, Captain.
Is back on? Okay. So the project on East Warren, we're working really closely with the Public Works Department, who is really responsible for the streets. But my understanding of what's happened on Warren is that they're doing this first phase to do it as a bit of a test, right? So all of that feedback is really great feedback to give to the department about what's working and what's not. I believe, so I mentioned this planning study that's coming. Out of that study, they'll be doing a really deep dive with looking at traffic, doing some more engineering, doing bike counts, doing all kinds of things to figure out in a more permanent installation what might be changed to make that street work for everybody.
Okay, because so far it's failing.
And I hear you. And I will say, I know that process wasn't communicated as clearly as it could have been from the get-go, but do know that there are more permanent investments coming, probably end of 2020, 2021 construction. But this coming year, there'll be more discussions about what's working and what's not on Warren with probably our department and also the Public Works Department who does streets.
Okay, thank you.
Nope, won't leave yet, Ms. Thomas. Oh, feel free to chime in, you guys, because I'm going to run this back at the next meeting where they try to tell me that everybody is in love with the bike lanes.
That's not true.
So here is my stance. I'm not a person that necessarily rides a bike, but I'm not mad at you if you do want to ride your bike or you want to use it for your hover around and get through. That's fine. Because I don't like the way it's set up on Jefferson.
Okay.
I went to get out the car, and I was like, wait a minute. And it felt like I was about to double dutch because you're trying to make sure you don't get hit.
That's true.
And then they try to tell me, oh, well, and I say they, being the administration. Yes, I'm saying that. Well, people love it. I mean, we had a room full of people. And I was like, here's the thing. You got to be able to talk to all sectors, and then at that point, figure out what works best. So, I've heard that there were 3,000 people using the bike lane. And I said, well, I haven't seen one person out there clicking. So I don't know. But I think that it is important to have a bike lane, but I just want it to be done right.
Okay, but you got the young people that probably can get out the way. But when you got the seniors getting out, they cannot get out the way, have to scoot all the way over and all that. That should not be.
I totally agree. And so like I said, I just want it done right. I'll learn how to adapt to it. I just want it done right. And I don't know that this is necessarily right when I feel afraid to get out the car door. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and Ms. Thomas, we're going to also take that up with the parking department. Who's this? Parking? Yeah, parking department, and we'll definitely send that feedback. They are not here, but I'll make sure that we follow up with them. So I want you all to know this as well. If there's anything else that is more layered than anything or anybody that is here, we have your information. That's why it was so important for you to fill it out with your address and your phone number, because we'll do the rest of the work and make sure that we call you back and give you the response.
My name is Bertha Jennings, and I'm not too sure. What is the Michigan Tax
Tribunal?
Yeah.
Is this somebody that wants to actually speak educated to this? Because
I don't understand.
I can tell you what the long story short is of it.
Okay,
so, you have the assessor's office here and the board of review for the city, right? And if you have an issue, you can take it up with them, and they'll make a decision. After they make a decision, if you don't agree with their decision, this is the next level that you can go to, and they can appeal. Is that a fair summation?
Exactly.
All right.
So, for instance, they said for your commercial industry, would that mean what? That's like putting trucks on your property, or so like you got a rig, or if you or if you're gonna build like what you want to call that? Your driveway. So is that part of that, or does it have anything to do with that, or no?
If there is what's called a land improvement.
Okay.
So let's say the lot is vacant and it has just grass on it.
No, it's mine.
No, I'm just saying, but there's just grass on it,
Yeah,
and you
just
decide to
grass.
put a driveway on it, whether it's paved or gravel, what have you, they'll be considered a land improvement. So that land improvement may be assessed, depending on what it is.
And I have a certain amount of time to agree with this paper, either.
Yes,
either
so every year, and it doesn't matter what year it is, every year you have the right to appeal your assessment. Only in the city of Detroit, between the 1st and 15th of February, you can file an appeal with the Office of the Assessor. If you're not satisfied with what the assessor says, then you can file an appeal with the March Board of Review, and then they can make a determination. And then if you're not satisfied with the Board of Review, then you can appeal to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. Commercial and industrial does not have to go to the local assessor. They can go directly to the tribunal as long as they file by May 31st.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Donwell.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hey.
My name is Frances Sinclair.
Hey, Ms. Sinclair.
The problem I have is I own a home. Next door to me is an abandoned house, It's been abandoned for over 10 years. The foundation is falling over on my side. In the back of the house, I noticed that it's a great big hole in the back where I guess the basement is, but it's a great big hole. And on my side also is a couple windows that are out, totally out. I have called down through the years, maybe the last 5 years or so, I've called regarding the house, but I haven't gotten any response. I called a few days ago and told them, and they said that they were going to send someone out to check it out.
Who'd you call?
The abandoned houses.
Well, I don't know who that is, but you're here in the right spot tonight. So, Mr. Edge, you want to talk about the abandoned house?
Okay, you said this house has been empty about 10 years?
Oh, yes.
Okay, more than likely it has been ordered demo. But if you give me the address and your phone number, I'll find out tomorrow. If it has been ordered demo, then you will get in touch with your district manager, and they would give you a timeline on, or give you a status on that demolition possibility. But I'll give you my card, and I'll take your name and number, and I will check it out first thing in the morning and let you know.
Thank you.
So what we'll do is we have it, so I'll make sure that we follow with you, so that way we can just move it along.
Okay.
But you have something else in there.
Well, on my street, there are a lot of pit bulls. And the owners, they just let their dogs just run free. They don't have a leash on them or anything. And I pulled up in my driveway, got out of my car, and wasn't really paying attention. The pit bull was right there. I was petrified. But to make a long story short, he just went on about his business, but I was frightened.
Right.
And we've called down to the city several times. They came out a couple times to try to find the dogs. They have seen the dogs.
Okay.
But they have been unable to get them.
So they can't have an owner, because it sounds like they're running in a pack.
No, they have owners.
Okay, so we'll talk to you about that part too, because if you know, we'll talk to you about that part. I won't say that publicly. But we did just put actually more money in the budget for more animal control inspectors, so we can make sure we follow back up with the animal control officers, have them come back out. But I want to get some supplemental information from you, or Jerome, I think you know what I'm thinking. So we'll do that, and then we can follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My church, I have a community church that we try to get out every year, and we try boarding up, we clean, and the same houses, squatters come in, take the boards down, and just, on my block alone, it's over 10 abandoned houses. Okay, so we don't know what to do from there. We clean up every year, it's messed back up, then the squatters come in and they have all this noise. I work, and I'm up with, at night with all this noise. You call, nobody does anything about it. I'm just fed up, really, with all this.
Let's take it apart. So let's talk about the squatters part. Our MPOs, can you all give them the microphone? I want them to introduce themselves, just in the event that everyone does not know who your neighborhood police officer is.
I'm Officer King for the 5th Precinct. I'm one of 3 MPOs for the 5th Precinct. There was a total of 5, now we're down to 3. I work for the captain over here, he's our new captain, and the commander, Commander Ewing. And yes, we do handle squatters' complaints.
You gonna introduce yourself?
And this is Officer Willie Soes. He's also one of the MPOs.
Okay, so the issue was about the squatters, and so do you all need a specific address to address that concern?
Yes.
Okay, so if you can see Officer King, so you can give him the specific address. And
half the block.
Half the block? We're going to give you the street. No, Captain.
And the thing that I want her to understand about squatters is that the biggest thing about squatters is we can't act. I'm not a bailiff. I can't go around putting people out. I'm going, like Ms. Ayers said, I'm going to keep it real with you. The owners have to be the complainant. If we can't get in touch with the owner because he lives in Australia somewhere, then my hands are tied. Okay?
A lot of the homes
agent,
are owned by the
or
land
if the owner
bank.
has an agent, someone that's responsible for keeping up the property. If we can get in touch with that person, then we can move a whole lot swifter.
So if the land bank owns some of these homes, then who do you go to? Because
Then we work through the land bank. The land bank have their own staff to handle just those problems also. But what the land bank attempts to do is to see if we can get some of these people to buy some of these homes. That's what they attempt to do. So they have, like I said, they have their own program where they go through and try to get that done. So if it's a land bank house, yeah, I can find out and we'll know.
So since it's half the block, what we'll do is I'll have my team work with you on us identifying some of the addresses, so that way we can figure out which ones are land bank, which ones are not land bank. And those that are land bank, we can work through their legal system and their director so we can kind of move this process along. Excuse me. So that's my commitment to you on that piece. And the same thing will have to happen with the abandoned homes in order for us to figure out if they're land bank, are they already on the demo list, and if it's HHF, like it's a lot of little nuances, but we can work with you on that part. Your last part, though, was about the noise ordinance. So we really have a noise ordinance, y'all. We do. DPD, you guys have so much on your plate, and so we do need to update some things in the noise ordinance, and that's another undertaking that we've taken on with the A-team. We're going to address the noise ordinance because actually there are some parts in there that don't have any specifications when we talk about hours of operation. The only thing that says in there specifically is that a truck driving school cannot operate before X amount of time. But other than that, it doesn't say anything. And so, yeah, some things you want to leave kind of open-ended, but then there are some things that you just got to be concrete on. So that's what we'll be working on, so I can keep you posted on that part.
Okay.
Thank you.
One of my biggest complaints is I cannot get up in the morning and walk out my door and just take a walk around the block on the sidewalk. The sidewalks are ridiculous. They tore up the sidewalk down the street about 2 years ago. Every town hall meeting I come to, they keep saying we're going to get to that. It's a bunch of cement stacked up. The other side is grass. It's big trees that's covering the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying?
Miss Stephanie, what street is this?
On Loretto Street, between Copland and Newport.
Can we make who's over there? One of the J's, Jalen, Jerome, Jordan, not even here. Jerome, if you can get Miss Stephanie's information so that we can, and matter of fact, too, I'm going to line item Payne Landscaping for public health and safety, because those contracts come through, and I might have to go to neighborhoods, so whichever committee it is, and I'll find the proper one, because if they're coming in and they're bidding, and that's fine, we want them to, get the contracts, but if you're not doing what's best for the community that you're serving, then we need to make sure. My staff is giving me the look because I know we were supposed to be done 25 minutes ago. I am sorry, but again, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate you.